Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience and welcome to the next MCCG. We're happy to have you again in the next meeting that we have organized. First of all, maybe before having a look at the agenda of today's session, I would like to kindly remind that the chat today will not be on in the MS Teams. Instead, we will be using the Slido as a Q&A platform for collecting your questions. You can access the Slido either by scanning the QR code on which you could see on the bottom right screen, or by accessing the slido.com webpage via your default browser and then entering the code, which you can also see on the bottom right screen. Then after just typing in your question and including your name, the question will then soon after a review appear on the general page, where we'll be then selecting and answering the majority of the other questions, hopefully during the call. But as was the case in the past MCCGs, we will be collecting all the questions and including the answers in a concise Q&A document after the meeting. With that, I would give the word to the conveners to welcome you and also introduce today's meeting.
Good morning.
Hello.
Please go ahead, Andreas. Give it a start. It is your first consultative group. Please give it a start.
It's my first market coupling consultative group. Good morning, everybody. We're happy to have you here to communicate the proceedings of the SDAC 15 minutes MTU project. Of course, we're here to take all the information that we can and we process it so we have a better understanding of what are the needs and what is the way forward. And we hope this session will bring very important information to you that will help the next steps. So from my part, thank you very much for attending this meeting, and I hope we will find it very helpful.
Welcome here, on board, Andreas.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, everybody. This is the first MCCG of the year. It is a bit shorter than before. We are basically anticipating 2 hours maximum of meeting, purely dedicated on one topic. Also a difference with other meeting we had last year and since 2022. We fully dedicate this session to the 15-minute introduction in the day-ahead market. One comment on the practicalities. You heard about Slido for channeling the questions during this session. We remind as well the principle. We will talk about it in a minute. We are here a group interacting with the community. Please stick to the perimeter of competence of the Market Coupling Steering Committee, CSCM implementation, Europe, and so on. We don't necessarily dive into details or even at all into questions that are not related to what we are implementing. Please don't finger point as well individual parties, etc. The question will probably not pass the filter. Please interact directly with this party if you have a very specific, painful question, we would say, so that the atmosphere and the collaboration remains fruitful and collaborative. Then let's start with the agenda of the session. First, we will go through this introduction, closing of action point or monitoring of action points we had from last year. During the 3 meetings last year, we opened some of them related to 15 minutes in SDAC. So we would like to give you a status on where we are from the TSOs and IMO side. What we will dive in today is quite detailed on this 15-minute implementation in SDAC. We will start with the timelines and planning, as usual, to give some shape to the activities and that rendezvous are being clear in all minds for your own planning. A large part of the meeting will be dedicated to the technicalities of the member testing session. And this is when market participants will be invited to participate to centrally coordinated activities for about a month. And we will very much detail what needs to be prepared upfront and understood, but what is to be done during the activities themselves, from the timings to data preparation, anticipated scenarios and experience. One word or rollback. Again, to highlight that the go live itself is not necessarily the end, because we need to be prepared for the worst case, not to activate it, but be prepared. So we highlight here clear guidelines on when exactly the endpoint is, when you are in a position to fully decommission what can be decommissioned from the old world, if it is the case. And then we dive into a Q&A session where we basically put together things that were already published last year, but belonging to other MCCG Q&A documents that are already public and online. We just gathered everything related to this specific initiative, which is quite a major one for MCSC this year, so that we wrap up all together on some technicalities. Anything you would like to add, Zeli, for the market participant, or Andreas for the TSOs?
Thank you, Pierre. Just first, I would like to introduce myself. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this first MCCG of the year. This year, I will be representing market participants into that forum, so I'm very happy to be there today. Maybe just to give an update, I'm from ENGIE. I'm a regulation and market design advisor, but I will be representing all market participants today and throughout the years on the MCCG throughout associations as well. So welcome and good morning to everyone.
Yeah, I think we can proceed to the presentations right now. So we can give the floor to the So basically, just to make sure the scope of discussion in MCCG. So what Pierre has already mentioned is to make sure the perimeter of the Market Coupling Steering Committee and what we can do and what we cannot do. So basically, what we cannot do is we cannot deal with issues that have to do with capacity calculation regions. That means capacity calculation, flow-based and Nordic flow-based, and core CCR, design and implementation of the ACC, and impact assessment and regional testing. These are outside the scope of this meeting. So please, in the questions that you have, do not make questions regarding those issues. Here you can continue from this one.
Yes, so what you see on the screen is the typical follow-up and legacy from the previous commitment we took within the TSOs and EMOS community. And we want to report on the progress here so that at least it is not forgotten. Not all action points are necessarily linked with a 15 minutes introduction in SDAC, but we wanted to report on the progress made that we logged back in November 2024. The first one was for TSOs to clarify the implementation of the OTU. We are talking here about the continuous markets. It was done and published. If you have any comment, Andreas, please comment, otherwise we'll proceed.
We can proceed, yes.
Yes, glossary. It is also something we took into account today in this session file. We try to elaborate, of course, during the session itself, but the glossary and dictionary was also published itself. It will be quite an habit this year as part of any Q&A document to make you comfortable or presentation. It will regularly be put again as part of any document we publish, so that acronyms sometimes can still be used, but you have the equivalents later on at the bottom of the file. Inform market parties on the 15 minutes implementation timeline, including testing timings. This is quite a hurt and the DNA of the topic today. So we hope we can fully close it in this meeting. For the NEMOs specifically, set up a standardized checklist with the technical requirements, product, timings, and so on. Also published on the NEMO committee website, and we will remind it in a minute, or we can already dive into it, by the way, Christina. It is quite linked with the next slide. It was done, so NEMOs here cooperated to put together one line per NEMO, some key information on this very specific project of the 15 minutes implementation. From communication to trading system interface change, product range offering at go live, index, proposal, and so on. Of course, all this generic and centralized coordinated publication is always complemented by individual NEMO's communication to its membership. You very much understand these 2 pages are not sufficient, for example, to participate to member testing that we are diving into today, or pretty much to go live. So please see it as a summary and overview that NEMOs had put together, but please interact with your individual NEMOs for detailed questions. On the previous page again, clarify the index calculation for what we call, and we will remind it during the session, the period orders, so especially this 30 and 60-minute granularity. It will be clarified during the session again. It is part of the Q&A, and it was published as some description of the strict arithmetic price average of the quarterly clearing price was highlighted with rounding or on-rounding with number of decimals and so on, and we will remind it today. Provide the feedback on the coupled member testing planning. It is exactly what our specialist will highlight to you today. The what, the when will be fully clarified. Inform the NEMOs and TSOs on what they would like to have tested. This is exactly what we did, especially with your representative. So Zeli, indeed, welcome on board for these activities. Just set the scene, meet expectations, work together on how to be best prepared. This is what we did basically over November to January, to size properly what will be described to you, namely these centrally coordinated member testing activities. Good, then we propose, and I really repeat again that any question should be channeled through the Slido specific tool. Teams will not be the way where we are getting basically written questions or oral intervention. Are you okay, Zeli and Andras, that we proceed with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So Adèle and Benjamin, please give it a start. We are basically entering here into the fundamental details of the session today and the description to the memberships and the audience of what is coming in terms of planning, timelines, and milestones for the remaining activities.
Maybe first, because I'm not the one to speak first, but to introduce you to Javier, who is also helping us with the planning, etc., and he will be the first to speak. So Javier, please.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you. I'm Javier, also from Quorum group, and we will present today details about the 15 minutes market time unit, the implementation, so planning and implementation, and the planning of next planning, test phases, plus go live. Okay, go live approach. Okay, so first of all, first slide explains the context about the go live decision date. Okay, as you know, we anticipated in December on MCSE. So jointly NEMO TSOs announced the go live for 15 minutes implementation set on 11th of June 2025. Okay, this will be the first trading date with 12th of June delivery date if all previous steps and go decisions go smooth and test plannings are having the exit criteria that we're expecting that it will have. So the considerations that led for this go live date selection were basically that do not fall on weekend, bank holiday, or holiday period. That is for convenience of both the market providers plus the market participants, knowing that we need adaptation systems, changes, etc., prior to this start of the multi-MTU support. Okay. So then secondly, we have mitigating the potential cascading effects or of delays on other parallel projects. This basically means that we have also ongoing projects in the day-ahead market. And prior to this project and go live, we have a, let's say, called freeze period that all systems should be known. There should be no changes. So we are able to have the all systems changes plus also expectations for product usage, etc., and a little bit of, well, extrapolation of usage ranges of market participants, usage of products, etc. So some simulations, basically for scalability and performance, okay, performance of our algorithm. So we anticipated this with a freeze period that will allow us to have a freeze period of systems and project and changes that we can able to run all the tests with these known changes for a long period of time, both first NIMOs and TSOs, and then with market participants. Okay, then following the third one will be following the regulatory obligation that we should go live as soon as after the legal deadline that was set 1st of January 2025. Okay, and then last one will be allowing the completion of the preparation and testing activities of TSOs and NIMOs, and in this case also market participants that will also need to adapt to this 15-minute support change for this year. Okay, the selection of the first delivery day at beginning of month or quarter will not be accommodated, okay, as there is no suitable date in the first half of 2025. Basically, 1st of April came too early and means that deployment should be, so first trading day will be for the 1st of April, the previous day, which is a Monday. And then all changes, system changes on configuration changes for this 15-minute support should be performed on a Sunday, which is not convenient both for NIMOs, TSOs, but also for market participant systems. Okay. In the next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide presents the test phases that we are running prior to the member testing. So the status of the 15 minutes MTU implementation basically is that we are now on the SIT, which is system integration testing. So basically functionally and procedurally that we have a robust systems and procedures also that this includes the training, okay, for the market, for operators, for everyone involved in the market, in the day-ahead market, in the future configuration of multi-granularity support. Okay, and yeah, this is basically it. In the last months, since last year, we have run NIMOs and TSOs, including CCRs, providers, and JAO, FIT testing, so functional testing, just for the systems adaptations, completed by 31st of January, and then SIT, which is both functional and procedural testing, started in the 3rd of February. The planning for the joint end-to-end member testing will proceed in early April 2025, concretely in the 7th of April. Okay, first of prior to this member test start, we have second half of March a go no-go communication to our market participants that will be provided by NIMOs, confirming the start of the member test, okay, on 7th of April. This normally should be communicated around 3 weeks before the market, the member testing start. That means that around 17th of March, the communication should happen, but this will change or will have some slight days of delay, okay? But normally 17th of March should be the date to communicate to market participants the go, no go for the market participant test phase or beginning of April, okay? In parallel to this joint test of NIMO TSOs, JAO or market participant, market members plus the market participants. We are also running individual tests that are planned by each NEMO, okay, on top of this joint end-to-end member test in order to ensure proper training, okay, against the APIs, the trading interfaces, okay, and this is run by each NEMO individually. So we have an overview, which is in the annex of this material at the end of this presentation, that will be shown later on. And basically it's an overview of individual NEMO trading systems that are allowing market participants to already use the multi-granularity systems adapted to 50-minute support. And also, well, this is individual, let's say, management, but it normally also includes coupling, so matching and providing the results just for market participants to check both the bit insertion, the output from the results files, etc. This is up to each NEMO, to their market participants, but this is done in parallel to future joint testing. Okay. And lastly, the technical readiness of NEMOs and TSOs will be declared before the start of joint member testing. So for the 7th of April, we will have the technical readiness by the market. Okay. And I don't know if Benjamin or Adel, do you want to complement any information?
Maybe just one, that the go-no-go, we might come back with a date, with an exact date for you on that. That is not certain again.
In a nutshell, you understand from Javier that TSOs and NEMOs are still implementing as we speak and testing. The goal is always to be clean before the member testing is starting. One big important wording convention here, member testing means here, and this is what you will hear today, centrally coordinated phase by NEMOs and TSOs. Obviously, each individual NEMO is free to have open a simulation environment if it wishes to do so before or during this phase. We are only here having as a perimeter of discussion what will be centrally coordinated for a few weeks of time. You see it between beginning of April and mid-May.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think we can go to the last one. It will be go live preparation and detailed timeline. Okay, so after this joint member testing, we also have some contingency for acceptance test. This is for NEMO TSOs and other parties involved in the market. Okay, and then we have in the schedule 3 weeks of go live preparation. Okay, between the joint end-to-end member test phase and the go live. This is 3 weeks preparation for us, for market, but also for market participants once we have the technical readiness and the go for the go live. So we have three weeks of preparation for prior to the go live. Okay. During this preparation phase, the individual NEMO testing on simulations environments will be kept by each NEMO. Okay, so will be open until the go live. So the market participants will be able to also run these individual tests, not the joint ones with procedural simulations, timings, etc., but also individually. Okay, or in parallel to the member testing. And lastly, the further communication regarding the go live of SDAC 50 minutes MTU. So the go, no-go decision for the go live will be sent by MCSE and later on in the individual NEMOs toward the respective market participants. Okay, so this will happen later on. Okay, around let's say May, after the joint member test, we will have a last word to say we are ready or we are not ready, and normal justifications for the decision to go live.
Okay, up to me in that case. So I will focus on the joint end-to-end member testing. So first, a reminder of what Pierre just explained, written a bit differently. So here we will talk only about the coupled or central or joint end-to-end member tests, which are different from the individual NEMOs member tests. Individual NEMOs are organized by each NEMO, and they are with their own NEMO market participant. And they are there to verify the readiness, the connectivity, and the NEMO market participant interface. They will happen 1 to 6 months before go live. I believe that mostly for most of the NEMOs, the individual market participant environment are already open. But today we will focus on the joint end-to-end that are there to train market participants and their operators, and also to test and promote the new timings that will change with 15-minute MTU in SDAC. So we are the organizer, NEMOs and TSOs, and the participants are NEMOs, TSOs, and market participants. So let's dive into what are the joint end-to-end member tests. So as was already presented, but then with a little bit more of detailed, we have planned 6 weeks of execution for the member tests. When we get rid of the bank holidays and the Fridays, where usually we don't test because we use them for system updates, we have 17 days of execution with different scenarios. Currently, we have this planning that you can see. We have had some discussion with the MCCG representative that have led to add more normal days execution than what was initially planned. So we have a first week of execution, then a week for any bug fix, system update on the side of market participant that is free. We continue with the execution, and then we have several other normal days. And you can see that the 5 last days in the planning are booked for either re-executing some scenarios upon market participant request, meaning market participants will have to coordinate with their own NEMOs to ask for a re-execution of one or several scenarios. If the re-execution is not requested, then we will execute normal days instead. What are the scenarios that are executed? We can go to the next slide. So we will perform normal days, several, full decoupling, partial decoupling of the Nordic TSOs with Nordic regional coupling, a second calculation due to bidding error. We will also do a daylight saving time focusing on the long clock change because it's the one that happens right after go live. No liquidity in a given time resolution, max number of blocks, max and min price triggered, curtailment with curtailment, and then we will try to organize paradoxically rejected hourly curve. What we won't organize are the following scenarios. The first one is the opposite cross-border flows within the same hour. So this was a technical test that we executed between NEMOs and TSO. Basically, we took an hour and then we simulated different flows, so import and export for a bidding zone within the quarter of an hour. We did it, we executed it successfully, but then we don't think it will be easy to re-execute in the member test. And we suggest if market participants are interested to see results such as those cross-border flows within the same hour, to coordinate directly with your individual NEMOs because they have such results out of their test system. So you could be able to retrieve the result of this test. Then the short clock change, we wanted to focus only on the long clock change because it's the next daylight saving time that will happen. And if need be, we propose to organize a short clock change test in production with the production topology, I mean, around the first quarter of 2026. So to be closer to what will be the real topology in production. There was also a discussion on a rollback, which led to conclude that it was infeasible for NIMOs and TSOs to simulate a rollback and then having their test environment again available for other test execution or for NIMO individual testing. So after this conclusion, we decided to not add that to the member test scenarios and to focus to the list we showed before. Then we have specific details to add on what I just said. The nominations and the shadow auction. We have decided that for now, we will perform the first 3 days of execution, meaning the 7th to the 9th, for which there is a normal day, a full decoupling with Nordic regional coupling and a partial decoupling of the Nordic region, with NIMOs, TSOs, and JAO participating in the testing for performing all the what we call post-coupling related processes, meaning that NIMOs will send all the regular market files, TSOs will allow the market participant to perform their nominations, and for the full and partial decoupling, JAO will perform shadow auctions. We wanted to point out here, because it was a previous question, that the shadow auction will stay in 60 minutes. That is the design of as of go live. But cross-border nominations for TSOs will be performed in 15 minutes. For that, we will send a communication package regarding the member test where we will detail a bit for which TSOs the nominations will be in 15 and in 60, and also how market participants can perform nomination, meaning if there is a need for registering, etc. This communication package will also contain the link for JAO registering for performing the shadow auctions. So you will receive all of that minimum or maximum 3 weeks before the start of the member test. We are saying that the nominations and the shadow auction will be executed only the 3 first days of execution. This is upon request of market participants, meaning if you didn't have the chance to perform this post-coupling during the 3 days, we propose to you that you coordinate with your individual NIMOs and you request that we re-execute the post-coupling setup of the processes during another normal day. And for that, we will then communicate to you what could be a new day booked for that, because we also need to book again TSOs and JAO participation. So all of that is to be coordinated with our individual NIMOs. And then we will communicate back to you if we elect a new day for performing again those processes. That is for post-coupling. Then you have seen that we have elected several normal days that are creating specific conditions to be met to experience market conditions, so low liquidity, max order book, etc. For succeeding to trigger those market conditions, we have listed instructions for market participants to follow during the specific execution date. We want to point out that we have listed the targeted outcome that you will see during the test, but we cannot take the responsibility that if you put into the system inaccurate input data not related to the instruction, we can still try to plan a retest upon request from market participants, but we have to have your help to be sure that the quality of the input data will be improved, because we cannot take this responsibility for all of the market participants. So let's dive into what are the specific instructions. For the no liquidity in a given time resolution, what we are saying is that Market participants should submit no order in 15-minute MTU for each bidding zone, with the exception of OMIE, for which only 15-minute MTU is available. We want to try as much as possible that market participants follow those instructions, because otherwise NIMOs will modify the non-compliant order books. But then, even if the adjusted order books will be made available back to the market participant, we have a fear that the total order books might not respect the initial instructions. So please try to respect those instructions. What you will see as market participant is specific result file and potential impact on the calculation time, and then a high level of volatility within the same hour. Second scenario is high number of blocks. So when we have a high number of blocks, this could lead to either a decoupling, that's the worst case scenario, but most likely a calculation with extended time. For this scenario, we are requesting you to submit order books with high number of blocks in 15-minute and 60-minute resolution. What does high number of block means? This will be detailed in the member test instruction that we will send later on. So we will detail a bit this instruction already, either in a general communication or per NIMO. We insist also that volume and prices must be similar to the current production levels, meaning the volume per quarter are similar to the volume in 60-minute resolution. Again, NIMOs will modify the non-compliant order books or provide dummy file to add orders for reaching a high prod-like number of blocks. And if NIMO modified the non-compliant order books, then the adjusted order books will be made available to the market participant. But we have the same risk for all scenarios. We really insist that market participants should follow the instructions. Third scenario is the maximum or minimum price reached. So we will try to trigger the maximum price with curtailment. So the targeted outcome will be no second auction triggering, because you know it's going to be decommissioned before the SDAC 15-minute MTU go live, and result file containing at least one time unit with max price with curtailment. So we have set a bunch of instructions for sell and buy orders with high price depending on the bidding zone. You have the detail here. And again, we as NIMOs will either modify and send back adjusted order books or add dummy files for reaching the high, for triggering the max price. The last one is the paradoxically rejected 60-minute curve. So that was a request that was lengthily discussed with the MCCG representative, because we know that market participants would like to see their 60-minute curves being paradoxically rejected. For that, we need a bit more time to analyze which instructions we will send for you to trigger this scenario. And we have some meetings to follow up on that, and the instruction should be also in the communication package that we will send before the start of the member test. So as I was saying before, 3 weeks before. So communication package will contain registration information and also a bit of precision on those instructions. Other information on the member test, and we can go to the next slide.
Adele, perhaps before we switch to the, let's say, organization and practicalities, one word on the scenarios that you just detailed.
Yes.
Let's say one step aside, I would say. If we come back to the list, these scenarios are well targeted. And this was chosen by MCCG MPs conveners, TSOs, NIMOs conveners. Why? Because they do allow market parties to experience what is new or modified by the 15-minute granularity. So we are, of course, focusing on that. The focus is very much oriented on the data, as you see. We are very much aware the trading behavior might be drastically changed, but everything around the matching, the volatility, it will be really focusing on data. And this is where the complexity is increasing in comparison to regular or functional member testing phase. This phase you will have being organized and proposed to you in April, May will be quite, let's say, ambitious in terms of data preparation. By definition, orders will be received through the NEMOS trading platform, but this time directly from market participants in this testing environment. These orders will be complemented if needed, as highlighted by Adele just a few minutes ago, because we want to secure the outcome of the test. This is the target for TSOs and NEMOS. If we don't have input quality being sufficient, then we basically cannot meet what we are targeting. We have retest possibility, we discussed it, but we insist on the fact that please pay attention on this slide deck, already online on ENTSO-E and NEMO committee website, and please pay attention on the communication package received in March, especially from the NEMOs, to be sure that we are able to propose to you what we would like to show you.
Okay, good. Then let's move forward with the other detail of execution. So input capacity data, that was a request from last MCCG to try to simulate a production-like capacity data. It has been agreed. And so the agreement would be that NEMOS and TSO would provide capacity data for day -7, meaning traded day -7 compared to the execution day. So that will allow you to have kind of a parallel run-like situation. The timings for the member test, it has changed a bit since we wrote those slides, so we will correct them. But we will have an order book gate closure time at 2 p.m., 2 CEST, exactly, for all scenarios, including full or partial decoupling. So the 1 p.m. that you see there will be corrected on the slide. It's going to be 2 p.m. for all scenarios. That means that capacity provision will start around 11 and result final confirmation around 2:52. Part of the communication package would be to send more detailed about those timing change. So it will be included, but at least you have high-level timings here. Coordination and registering during the test. So we will use the same communication during the joint end-to-end member test, meaning you will receive market message. Therefore, you have to register towards your individual NEMOs and also towards JAO. We will again clarify all those processes in the communication package that will be sent around mid-March. And finally, again, emphasizing this part, we want to clarify that your participation is really important to be able to simulate the production-like market condition. We have repeated it at least 3 times, meaning it's really important. And we will again clarify that into the communication package that we will send mid-March. So in between now and mid-March, as Pierre was saying, we would advise you to take knowledge about those slides and to ask your individual NEMOs whether you need any further information to be provided in the communication package. That way we can enrich it before sending it. Especially, I can already see some question in the slide for more detailed information regarding the test steps, etc. That can be added upon request. So no problem to do that, and don't hesitate to share with your individual NEMOs for that. We also complement our communication package that will be sent mid-March. I think that's it on me. I don't know if you want to take some question already, Pierre and Andreas, or directly dive into rollback and then take the question later.
I confirm we will stop and take the questions as they are before we proceed.
Okay.
Yes, can answer the question why shadow auctions will be in 16 minutes. Well, this has been decided that in case of partial decoupling, new shadow auctions will take place and there will be explicit auctions and there will be only 60-minute offers, so no 15-minute offers in the shadow auctions. So this has been decided by JAO, and this is what we should, this is how we were going to proceed. So I don't know if anybody wants to answer another question.
This one was answered already in writing, but we can detail basically the answers for those who are not on Slido necessarily. So what happened? We have indeed indicated this is the news for today that there will be a go-no-go before the start of the member testing phase on the 7th of April, mid-March, meaning 3 weeks before at least. What happens? Well, the reason very well could be that the technical readiness cannot be ensured yet, so that the member testing start will be delayed. We don't know if it's a question of days or weeks because it really depends on the facts that TSOs and demos have to deal with. Is there a consequence on the go live? There is a little bit of contingency, but it is likely. Again, it depends on the facts we have to deal with in March, and it was not yet fully decided. This is exactly what will be elaborated in case there is a bad news in March. More news to come again in the coming 4 weeks.
I think it covers part of this question for the second go-no-go decision and when will it be taken. The answer is as soon as possible, but then we need a bit of preparation to redraft the planning. So
I don't know if second means the go-live go-no-go or the second member testing go-no-go in case of first no. It was not clear to me in the question, but
the go-live go-no-go. Yeah.
Then the go-live. Then the clear answer is that it will be taken again a few weeks before go-live, very likely. I think May could be targeted here. But TSOs and demos did not discuss yet how to consider the clear outcome of the member testing phase. For example, if we are failing because input data was not necessarily accurate or because the expected outcome was just not met, it is something that is not necessarily a reason to delay, the full initiative, but it is something that we are still discussing in the coming 3 months. Question here more for TSOs for this one on the cross-border capacity rights. If not clear, we can take it up with us. Andras, I don't know if you have expertise and experts here to answer.
I cannot understand this cross-border capacity rights. This is not part of the market coupling. This is part of the long term, so the future market, which is not part of what we're discussing right now. So I don't think this is for this meeting. If I understand correctly the question, or maybe I missed something.
Communication package, we do confirm it is before the start of the member testing. So the target is indeed March, for highlighting in a more precise manner what will happen as of the 7th of April, practicalities, detailed scenarios for each individual NEMO, how to basically connect to the testing of simulation environment and so on. So the what needs to be done and for when will be described in March in this communication package.
Regarding the question of the Spanish NRA, yes, yes, this question regarding SAP and JAO nominations below nominations will be of 60 minutes. So this is correct, yes.
Here again, a question on shadow auctions.
Yes, for shadow auctions. Yeah, sorry, Zeli.
No,
Yeah,
I was
go
going
ahead,
to say
Benjamin,
if the justification cannot be given directly right now, can it be taken for a written answer later on, or can you answer it straight away?
I was about to say that we should take this topic maybe offline or to another call, because my understanding is that the shadow auctions are in 60 minutes and the nomination of shadow capacity is in 60 minutes as well. But there might be
this
some
is my
exceptions, the
understanding
TSOs
as
that
well,
I'm not
so-
aware of. So I
Yeah.
would prefer not to answer now if possible. But my understanding is that it is in 60 minutes. If you allow me to confirm a bit later, I would be very glad.
Okay, thank you for a later confirmation then.
Thank you very much.
Questions more for the NEMOs. This is something we had got since many months. So here, basically, each individual NEMO has its own practice, be it documentation, provision of files, trading interface change description. It could be documentation as well, or APIs, and so on. The usual practice will be followed. Please contact the individual NEMO you are a member of, dear member. This is really the way forward. If not done, these files will obviously provided soon. But please refer to your individual NEMO if it is not already answered in the overview that NEMOs did publish a few weeks ago in January. This is the way forward.
For the more steps in the scenarios listed, we can detail in the communication package. Again, it would be interesting to receive more information about what exactly would you like to see, timings, yeah, and for which general steps, market messages, etc. And that will allow us to target better the communication. But all that you need could be included into the communication package.
Next question, I think Adele, for the visual timeline of all these steps, I propose we go back to the slide 9, Christina, if we can do it, because it was actually already presented. We might miss the actual date of the go-no-go for the go-live itself. Yeah. Otherwise, everything is in it already, right?
I think we might have to add the communication package exact date and then the go-no-go for the go-live. But in that case, we can take it with us to add those two information to the timeline and publish in the communication package, for instance.
Okay, then I propose that we, TSOs and NEMOs, just enhanced a little bit this chart with 2 additional information, and we would update the public deck of the slides, which was already put online before the meeting, adding these 2 infos. Mid-March communication package, plus, let's say, the go-live, go-no-go, shortly before go-live. Let's enhance this current slide deck. It's something we can take. Yes. I think we had the last question.
We can go to rollback. No.
We had the last question, which is quite also in line with everything we received in 2024. That NEMOs already answered as part of their centralized overview on the NEMO committee website. We are referring to it in this slide deck as well. You get the information on where NEMOs are basically keeping proposing the hourly time resolution on top of the newly introduced 15, sometimes even 30 minutes is part of the proposal. You get this overview very clearly into the NEMOs table.
Then maybe we can move to rollback. Yes. Okay. As Adele and Javier explained, so TSOs and NEMOs are jointly and extensively testing the 15 minutes MTU functionality since October, and will continue doing so in February and March, followed by several weeks of joint test with the members. And although we are confident in the robustness of the functionalities. We don't want to be caught off guard, and this is why a rollback is introduced, as it is the case for now all the major European projects. Maybe before we dive into some more details, what is the rollback exactly? So the rollback is the concept of switching back to 60 minutes granularity for the SDAC region. It's important to note that this rollback, if applied, will be applied to every market. So if it's applied, every NIMO, every border will move back to 60 minutes. How long this rollback will last? So we have planned 1 week after the go live of what's here showed as monitoring period. We can also call it rollback activation period. And maybe the next important information is in practice, how will that be decided? How will that be organized? So here you have the timeline in green on the screen. So during this 1 week of monitoring, we'll have some triggering events that we will detail a bit more in the next slide. An investigation will be conducted to know what's the problem. And then based on that, the OPSCOM group, operational committee group of SDAC, will recommend the steering committee to roll back. The MCSC will take a decision and communicate on the rollback implementation, including the date and all the details. If we can move to the next slide, maybe. Thank you very much. So a bit more details about this rollback proposal. The decision is taken by the steering committee, as I just explained, based on the recommendation and investigation of the operational committee, the SDAC OPSCOM. The investigation of OPSCOM will decide if the events for which the decision is based on are actually linked to the 15 minutes functionalities or not. Their recommendation would also include an expectation on the time to solve the issue, and if this time is not suitable, then the activation of the rollback may be decided. What could cause this activation and this decision? So we have defined the following criteria, and just for the clarity of everyone, I will just read it out loud. So a declaration of a full or partial decoupling due to an incident regarding the central or regional assets happening twice during this 7 days period after the go live. So the go live is on Tuesday, the 11th of June. This is the first trading day for delivery 12. Then until the 17th of June, after at the end of the day, if nothing happened, then this rollback activation period is over, and we continue in 15 minutes for eternity and beyond. The last day to activate the rollback, in case it is necessary, is the 24th of June, which is also Tuesday. So it is important for market participants, TSOs and NIMOs, to keep your systems I won't say up to date, but with the 60 minutes options until 24th of June. So this is important. Regarding the decoupling can happen at the beginning, at the end, or separately. They don't have to be one after another. And the decision to roll back, this is important. There will be a 3 days time, 3 days necessary to switch back to 15 minutes from 15 minutes to 60 minutes. So after the 17th of June, let's say the decision is taken on the 17th of June, the earliest trading day back on 60 minutes will be here on the timeline, trading day D+3. So this is quite important to note, that we will give time not only to the NIMOs and TSOs, but also to market participants to adapt and to switch back your systems. Maybe next slide, because I know we have some questions.
Yep, perhaps before we, because I know there will be a lot of questions. don't mix rollback is 1 week with the fact that this week is only to measure and monitor the incidents that could trigger the activation. You see on this chart, and this is why our expert had put it, the effective first day under the new 60-minute resolution could be very well on the second week. So please be careful, and this is why we take care here of your own commitments toward providers, internal development teams, and so on. Be prepared to have this first effective date later than this first week. The first week is only to measure the incident. We wanted to be very clear with that.
Thank you, Pierre. So we had several questions since the last alignment in December. I think the first one we covered, but let's repeat it again. So the rollback, if applied, applies to the whole of SDAC, all NIMOs, all TSOs. It's not that Spain will be rolling back, but the rest of Europe will stay in 15 minutes. No, everybody at the same time rolls back. The next question was regarding the lead time between the decision to roll back and the implementation. And for that, we said that minimum of 3 days is necessary. And this is why the timeline on the previous slide shows D+3, first trading day in 60 minutes. But depending on the issue, depending on the severity, depending on what happened, because it's very difficult to predict what could happen, but we want to give as much clarity as possible. We prefer everyone to keep the systems up and running in 60 minutes until the 24th of June, Tuesday, 24th of June. The last question was regarding the index, but I think, Pierre, you're way more of an expert than I am on this, so I will give you the floor if you don't mind.
Yes, so in a very nutshell, it was requested by your representative within the associations. We needed to give clarity on this term resolutions from a pure clearing price and index perspective. Yes, clearing prices and indexes that NIMOs might be computing are following these rollback principles. Everything before go live, it is exactly as today. Everything after the go live and during the very few days that 15 minutes was in production, the clearing price is obviously switching to 15 minutes. An index, and this is part of one question later on in the deck requested by market parties, an index will be calculated. NIMO cooperated and agreed on a methodology to harmonize its calculation. But you very much understand that after the activation of rollback and this so-called effective D+3 date, we don't have any 15 minutes anymore in the clearing price. We go back to the situation today as it was before go live. And the index is following. NIMOs are not computing anything artificial here and keeping alive what would be not representative. So the 15 minutes clearing will be absent. In this case, from the product range or the published price indicators of clearing prices. We wanted to be very clear with that. One last word, not to leave on a pessimistic side of things. Everything that was presented by Benjamin is an insurance. We invest to prepare something, to have a day-ahead market working in all conditions in case we experience something heavy. By definition, you saw it. 2 decoupling events means something very heavy. But we never know, and we need to get prepared for this worst case. We are not supposed to activate it. We are just getting prepared.
Also, this is why Adele really encouraged you to participate to this member test, because the more participants we have, the more robust the systems, the procedures, the training will be, and we can leave this rollback way behind us. I don't know if there's any questions on Slido regarding the rollback.
I think you got one, yes.
What are the possible rollback triggers? Is it only related to a full decoupling? So no, as we showed on the slide, full decoupling or partial decoupling. And the key is that those decoupling events must be related to the 15 minutes functionality. If it's not, then we know that 15 minutes work, and then there is no rollback needed. And the second question is, how would the market participants be notified in case of a possible rollback? I think for that, there will be a clear communication from SCSC members, but I believe that also the NEMOs will communicate extensively on this.
Yes, fully correct. You can count on this double communication stream.
And as for the TSOs, I'm sure they will communicate something through the website of JAO. I'm quite confident in this. Then Pierre, I think the floor is yours for the next topic, if I'm not mistaken.
So, yes, you saw, if you already had a look on the published slide deck, that in the next slide, we basically recap what was already put together and published. We are talking here about fundamental documents such as the algorithm, a public description of the product methodology, describing the product range that could be offered. You also were highlighted this NEMOS checklist of this product range or index calculation and so on at the beginning of the meeting. Everything is transparent and online already today. We are not announcing drastic changes to anything related to the design, but we wanted to highlight to you that these links allow you to have a very good information on the way the market will be operated as of the go live of 15 minutes. It also computes together all 15 minutes related questions, especially in the day ahead context, that we received and answered, especially in 2024. We had 3 MCCGs and associated Q&A documents. They also are online. ENTSO-E on NEMO committee websites are gathering that. But we wanted to make sure that you are once more reminding these links. It could be very well be part of this March communication package, by the way, we will see it. But at least it is centralized here. So we will go through a few of the questions. There are more in the different documentation we highlight to you. One thing that is important before I dive into this detailed question in the next slides, the product methodology in the day ahead coupling introduces a strict and modified since last year naming convention of the other types of product. It is important you have this naming convention in mind also to read the answer of the questions that we received on the TSOs and NEMO site. What is the MTU order? What is the period order? How are the blocks sometimes called and so on? Because we answer the same way to have some consistency. So please check once more, at least this, this naming convention. We can do some equivalents today orally, obviously. To be on the same page, we need you to basically take this naming convention. Okay, for you, Zeli, if we dive into these questions. So again,
Yes.
Nothing new. It is a recap of what we basically discussed already all together in the latest 18 months. It is online once more, but computed under one place only. Do you expect in the future more 15 minutes price dependent bids than 60 minutes? So we are talking here about what will be the time granularity mostly used by market participants. It will vary very much from one bidding zone to the other, from one NEMO to the other, from one market participant to the other, because different assets are used, different strategies are adopted. Some members might be still using hourly product for a few days, weeks, or months after the go live, if their respective NEMO is still offering it, etc. There is a lot of parameters within the equation. So the forecast is not set in stone. We cannot predict that. On the contrary to other projects, it is by definition a new trading behavior that this project is triggering. So we are probably, as some of you, dear attendees, not knowing by heart what will be the reality. And this is why we link it with 2 aspects. First, the member testing and simulation you are doing with your individual members do matter to anticipate such a situation, to allow you to experience what is new. We mentioned here in writing this potential rejection of 60-minute curve orders. Let's call them period orders in this case. This is a new fact that we would like you to be aware of. Second point, because we don't know, especially on the usage of the blocks, NIMOs are also getting prepared to some increased complexity of the order books that the central algorithm will have to deal with. We are not telling we are activating any so-called corrective measures, but again here we are getting prepared. So basically same approach as the rollback. We need a working algorithm every day. Question 2, focusing on the 50-minute clearing price. Will there be a separate clearing price, 15, 30, 60, etc., between different granularities? When we switch to 15 minutes at the day of the go live, the first trading day, the clearing price will be at 15 minutes granularity. This will be the time of the market. Anything else will be basically indices that, yes, NIMOs agreed to calculate together and to publish on individual NIMOs website. We harmonize the methodology of calculation of this index. So we really make things very clear. So 15 minutes clearing price is a run ruling. You will obviously see as well in the public description of the algorithm that everything is linked. And it's not as if we have 2 or 3 different merit orders mechanisms. No, there is the so-called averaging rule. Within the central algorithm, the clearing prices of 15 minutes are used to compute some 30 and 60 minutes prices to make sure that the matching conditions for those orders are also meeting requirements and so on. We have one big market and 50 minutes in the clearing new price. Are you planning the transition period after lunch of the 50-minute trading interval when both 15 and 60-minute trading will be available? You will see in the NIMOs note what will be the product range offered by the respective NIMOs in the relevant bidding zones. Basically, we answer the question yes or no, is the hourly product kept? Is the 30 minutes introduced when the 15 is seeing the light? This was answered through this NIMOs checklist. The link is part of this presentation. The document is already online since a few weeks. We took the action point last year for that. And yes, in a vast majority, there will be a coexistence of the hourly and the 15 minutes granularity. Of course, for all NIMOs, the 15 minutes granularity will be present. For some NIMOs in extra, the 30 minutes product will be offered. And for some or one NIMO, the hourly product will not be there. It is all part of the checklist. I'm checking the question at the same time, but you see it now graphically, very clearly. We basically have 3 main colors in the continental Europe. The green part is where the strict 15 minutes will be proposed. The blue part is where basically all granularity will coexist, 15, 30, and 60. And the yellow part is where the 15 minutes will be introduced and hourly product kept. This is part of this checklist and was presented already last year during one of the MCCG. The question 1, we can be crystal clear on that. When the hourly product is still proposed by the given NIMO, yes, the basically statu quo in terms of bidding submission from the market participant perspective can be kept. We call this matrix here, you can call it curve, you can call it linear order, but yes, it can still be used to submit order to the NIMO, meaning that there is no strict transition necessary to the 15 minutes granularity from a bid submission perspective for the market parties. Again, for the NIMOs that keep the hourly product after this go live. This is in a nutshell what you need to know from this perspective. We got aware of this need for market parties to keep the hourly product. Most of the NEMOs already confirmed that. Block orders can be defined at any quarter. Yes. Yes, you don't have to be right at the point where it is an hour 00 or middle of an hour for 30 minutes block. You can start whenever you want and finish whenever you want your block at the submission phase. Yes. Again, the algorithm is completely flexible on that. No restriction. Period orders, and this is where I do the link with what I stated. What is a period order? This is a naming convention I was referring to, part of the official NEMO product methodology for the day-ahead market, especially here. A period order are the linear or curve orders, if you wish, at 30 minutes or hourly level, on the contrary to the 15 minutes linear order, which is called MTU orders. And yes, they are cleared at the level they are submitted. I come back to this specific averaging rule that is fully described in the MCCG slide decks or in the description of the algorithm. The averaging rule is linking these hourly, 30 or 50-minute clearing prices for the latter to make sure we have one consistent market with one merit order. And the full functioning is part of the description of the algorithm already online. Huh? It was published beginning of August by the NEMOs. We come now to prices. I will call that now index to be very strict. The clearing price is at 15 minutes. Everything else will be indices. So again, naming conventions do matter here. And yes, we repeated already two times during this meeting, NEMOs cooperated to define a joint methodology to calculate indices for 30 minutes when it is published and hourly setup. This formula was part already of some session file. We are talking here about an arithmetic, meaning strict, non-weighted average of the 15-minute clearing prices. And you see the details with regards to decimal numbers or rounded versus unrounded, again in this MCCG's session file from last year. Oh, sorry, in the Q&A answer was given already following the MCCGs. How will the hourly index be established in bidding zones with multiple NEMOs? This is what I said. Be it from a pure M&A NEMO perspective or a situation where only one NEMO is present in a bidding zone, we all cooperated to have a joint methodology, which means in practice within the specific M&A zones that there will be only one index methodology, basically the same value, will be published by the NEMOs present in these bidding zones. It is secured. We dive now into the blocks. We got many questions on the block last year as well. Will it be possible to link 15, 30, and 60 minutes block? We have to understand here that intelligence is still there. Linked block will still be proposed. But within this family, a time resolution needs to be chosen. It is very important. In practice, I do not see many added values to link time resolutions within a smart family, but the answer is strict. A time resolution for a linked families of blocks needs to be chosen. Calculation time extension. What will change in the publication time of the results? You have here clear timings here. This is something that NEMOs and TSOs are actually working on during the phase of testing we are in. You very much were highlighted by Adele that we exited the technical phase. We are now in the middle of the simulation integration phase within TSOs and NEMOs community. This is what we try to confirm before the start of the member testing, hence before go live, that the timings are feasible and we know exactly when this calculation time, publication time will be. What is changing is only the calculation time primarily. 30 minutes will be given to the algo, on the contrary to 17. And this extra 13 minutes, we're having some slight consequences on the publication time. We indicate now that preliminary market results might be online at 52. Firm ones need an additional checks. So they are already online, but flagged as preliminary. The firm ones will be set in stone 10 minutes later. Again, we are, as we speak, with the NIMOS and TSO community, fully confirming that it was flagged already last year. We needed this phase to be fully sure on the detailed timings. But what we show on the screen is very near, meaning modulo a few minutes from the reality, if not already confirmed. What we invite you to do is to go through this package of documentations we highlighted just before these detailed questions. This is where the info can be found. This is really the message. No big change will happen between now and go live. Everything was said or published in writing. This is really what we can say. Again, next big communication to you will be mid-March, basically. Yeah? We highlighted it enough today, but in 1 month of time, you will get extra info. So questions basically from the Slido, I guess. That we can dive into that unless some algorithm specialist from the NIMOS can want to jump in. We can log again the question and publish this one, prioritization, because there were some mix last year. Sometimes orders are prioritized, curves over blocks, or specific curtailment situations, and so on. We will highlight this situation if you wish as well, once again. Patrick, you had the question on the rollback.
Yes, I can maybe take this one. So this is a tricky one, but no. If there is a rollback and we move back to 60 minutes, there will be a new phase of testing, new phase of functional testing, procedural testing. Everything will be tested again, and it's just not feasible to communicate anything for now. So it's a whole new project.
In a nutshell, if I translate it very concretely,
yes,
it is probably not a question of days.
No, yeah,
rollback. It's clearly that we have a heavy issue to solve. There were 2 major incidents in production, so TSOs and NIMOs will basically reassess. What will be the fallback procedure in case of decoupling? Will it be updated after go live? So this question might be linking this 15 minutes project implementation and the European initiative and debate on the improvement of the decoupling process. The 2 are not strictly linked, meaning technically. Process-wise, everything can work under hourly or 15 minutes setup. This is the first point. What would happen? Basically, the coupling will be an unperfect. Again, we are talking about partial decoupling or full decoupling cases. So there could very well be a situation where the SDAC still can compute prices for a large subset of the bidding zones, but not a specific one or a specific NIMO. Or we have a full decoupling. In this situation, unless there are changes in the meantime, the current process still holds, because we have no firm view yet on the modification of the decoupling situations, when they will enter into force and what will be the content of this change. In case perhaps Benjamin against rollback, so again, have no fear. We just set the scene to be very clear months before it could be activated. The purpose is obviously not to activate that. In case there is no decoupling, Benjamin, during this 1 week observation period, but the algorithm takes longer than expected, could that be a reason to roll back?
So The reasons for rollback are very clear. It's 2 decoupling scenarios. Now, regarding the longer calculation time, for that, corrective measures are being discussed and will be applied if necessary. But the 2 events that could lead, the 2 and only events that could lead to a decoupling, to a rollback, are partial and full decoupling.
Okay. Why was this described methodology used to calculate index and not volume weighted? Nimos discussed that. We could have one argument dynamically coming up on top of the table. One of them could be that as part of the DNA of the algorithm, again, it is part of the public description published in August, this hourly or 30 minutes shadow, let's say, prices that the algo is computing are using a strict average. So we try here to reflect the condition of matching of the orders themselves. Any other indicators could be computed, but the one chosen by the NIMOs are basically reflecting the condition of matchings of the algo of the 30 or 60 minutes orders when proposed by the NIMOs. This is one of the top reasons. We could take the question again in the NIMO community and elaborate a bit more. But I had this direct argument in mind. Timings, I don't know if Benjamin, Adèle, you can help me out. We are in the middle, or we started this simulation phase where timings are under scrutiny by TSOs and NIMOs. Are we saying that we will basically knowing in March that we have the set of timings being firm and we could put it as part of the package mid-March, or what is your view?
Yes. Yes, it should be the case. It depends a lot on the procedural test that we are performing right now. So mid-March should be enough, and so we could include it into the communication package.
Okay, thank you. Last question. Yes, integration of newcomers outside of EU is a topic for the TSOs, NIMOs. And when these newcomers are entering the SDAC, yes, 15 minutes must be alive on the other side of the EU borders, namely within these energy community countries. The 15 minutes must be implemented. The borders must also run under a 50 minutes allocation process. Yes or no, the hourly product should be kept by the NIMO. We cannot tell. We did not discuss it, and we have no view on the plans from the NIMOs as part of the energy community members. But yes, 15 minutes must be implemented before integration. The SDAC will be running in 15 minutes anyway, just to be very clear. So it is a must. Good. Thank you. Zeli, perhaps what would be your takeaways from everything that we said? Do you have some action points from TSOs and NIMOs between now and basically mid-March, or ahead of the preparation of the member test, or you think that the community of members could already have a good overview of what is coming up, basically?
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, everyone. Maybe just to make sure that questions that were supposed to be answered in written form would be answered, and maybe if you can give us a bit of a idea when a question can be answered. I'm talking, for example, about the shadow auction on 60 minutes, for example, answer that would be on a written form that we would like to have. Maybe precision on other questions that were needed, like for example, of the choice for arithmetic average as well, that you explained as well, Pierre. And then I guess there will be also minutes and taking back the Q&A. Do you have a bit of a timeline on when this Q&A would be published?
So you mean gathering into one document only any kind of information related to 15 minutes? This is what you ask, right?
Yeah, related to the questions that have been asked on the Slido and that were answered orally, that would be good to also have like an answer also in a written form as well.
We need to take it up. Usually during a regular MCCG event, which is bigger than this one, we basically take 3 weeks on average to have things clean, online, approved. We have to take it up with Andras and put it in the TSO NEMO community.
Thank you. And also on market participant side, we also take back what Adele explained, and if there are feedback to be given to NEMOs before member testing as well. So market participants have that in mind, that they reach to their NEMOs for points to be taken, but also questions that they may have that are more like related to individual NEMOs than MCSC as a general forum. So that's it a bit, I think, on our side. And we would like to also thank you all for answering the question and for the publication of the, let's say, checklist document you've made some weeks ago that is very useful for market participants, and for that explanation session of today. Thank you very much on our side.
Good, point taken. We give you rendezvous through this communication of mid-March, but of course there will be other MCCG events this year. The next one will be in Q2. Date is not set yet, and that will be it for today.
Thank you everybody for attending this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.